Здравствуйте, уважаемые коллеги. Здравствуйте. Сегодня мы хотели бы поговорить на тему
Today, I would like to speak about the topic
платформах для решений по информационной
of
безопасности.
Russian hardware platforms and information security systems. Is there a light in the end of the tunnel? Maybe this is the train, or maybe there is no tunnel and everything's okay. And speak about this topic, I've invited Andrei Robotinsky from the consulting of the company Stera and Konstantin Zakatov, the head of the Department of Information Security in the company Aquarius. And I'm Mikhail Kadar, the worker of Positive Technologies. Dear colleagues, I have the following question to you. In principle, we did hear a lot about specialized platforms in information security, but at the same time, very often we notice that clients deploy this solution on regular computers, and I would like to ask you, is there a sense in those specialized platforms in information security? For a computer, install a software, and the client will have everything. Okay, what do you think about it? Andrei, can you reply to this question? Well, our solution is built on common destination purpose platform. And if there is a need on the side of the client, some additional service, for example, channel protection, then sometimes it is enough to have a common platform with Intel CPUs or AMD CPUs. If we speak about some complex solutions which include antivirus, intrusion detection systems, and let's say firewalls, then the platform resources are not sufficient, and we need some special solutions, some additional CPUs, crypto, defenders, and on the basis of the objectives from the side of the client, they might have the common platforms, and they may require specialized solutions. Konstantin, and your experience in this issue? Well, partially I would like to add to this, and maybe I will extend to what Alexander have said. The common destination platforms are developed for a very wide sphere of application. That's why for specialized tasks that Alexander was speaking about, it may not be sufficient, and they are not sufficient. So the specifics of work, of complicated, complex solutions in cybersecurity is such that we need to apply additional internal devices which do something better, which do some indicators better. And our experience is that we are developing the common platform and specialized platforms which are used in the course of many years to solve cybersecurity problems in different Russian developers of such solutions. That's why one can use common platform, but if there is a need to achieve good, better results, then we need a separate development, separate complex of separate requirements given in the technical specifications for the development, and these indicators are achieved by us. Interesting, thank you very much, dear colleagues. But the next question, if you allow me, on a higher level, we all know that these hardware platforms, we in the beginning have the operating system and then a specialized software and things that we know from operating systems in Western manufacturers. Usually they use connections to inbuilt security modules, TPM structures, throughput, digital signature software, etc. So what are the possibilities of Russian hardware platforms, and how Andrei from Terra was telling us possibilities of using specialized software and how it uses these inbuilt hardware possibilities? Konstantin, you will be the first one. Well, if we are speaking about domestic vendors of operating systems, definitely they do not provide requirements and they don't use Western solutions as TPM. In this infrastructure, they just don't have. In how they work, there are no addresses to such models, but of course with the vendors of operating systems, they do work in this area to reinforce some security components to the development of certain inbuilt functions in the operating systems. And once again, in addition to the operating systems, these requirements are provided by the applied software. for the cybersecurity, which works over the operating systems, and even more. Operating system by itself is not using this solution. It provides a transportation channel. It provides compatibility of the drivers with the hardware provisioning and provides functions which can be used by this applied software. This applied software, if it does have these requirements, it can use it. It can use them. So in our TPM platforms, well, TPM is not used for one simple reason, because none of Russian organizations is not a member of this association, these trusting computing groups, which has developed this module, and therefore nobody have any specifications of how it works. But when it's not known how it works, it's very strange to use something. Yeah, it's very strange. That's why we don't have it, but nevertheless, we are going to have it. Okay, Andrei, continuing the question to you. You, as developers of specialized security software, as I will call it, your software, does it use some specialized hardware components? Well, let's see. First of all, we do use hardware or software modules of trusted load. This is the requirement of the FSB to provide classes KS1, KS2, KS3. And we have to apply these means of unsanctioned access. Well, previously these were hardware modules, hardware logs for a separate board, which was controlling download from specific information carrier. But right now we're moving to the software modules of trusted load. We're developing our own modules which allow us to provide execution of these requirements with the help of our software, which allows us to make this platform cheaper by the cost of the same module, load module, and it gives additional possibilities for our clients in remote reloading of the equipment and remote update. Okay, that's understandable. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, I have another question. I do communicate with a lot of different clients, and they tell me that they have active process of migration from the foreign hardware platform to domestic Russian hardware platform. So how do you see this process from your side? And maybe you can give us several tips to clients who are in the process of such migration, or maybe they're looking at it. So please, Andrei, let's begin with you, please. Yes, definitely this trend is available, and for quite a while already, because we continue this import substitution, especially import substitution of the software. We have switched to the hardware import substitution into the deadlines that were provided to companies. The companies have to fulfill this import substitution within these deadlines. And right now, we are looking carefully at the market. And we also have the hardware-software complexes on the Aquarius platforms. Also, we are looking at other possibilities. We have a collaboration with other Russian manufacturer. We switched to another hardware platform. Also, we are not just buying platforms. We also have Star Unit platform. Another platform is assembled in St. Petersburg plant, and right now it comes into the Minprom-Torg registry. Konstantin, what about your import substitution process? Well, the substitution goes into the technological independence in this question. And as Andrei properly said, we have the line of joint solutions in our software hardware platforms. We can offer to our clients joint solution developed in the Russian hardware platform. As for the clients and their vision, not all the clients are ready to do this right now. Well, that's understandable, because in the course of many years, we've been providing a lot of different requirements to the functionality which has been used in specific hardware platforms by foreign manufacturers. But all this process and the process of development of the hardware platform, starting from the scratch in the territory of Russia, in our own development centers. It started 4 years ago. So during all this period of time, we're able to accumulate all the necessary equipment and experience. We did have certain problems that we had to face, but all this together is a valuable experience which helped us in the current stage at the given moment of time to approach with understanding of what is to be done in order to have proper, good, and having big feedback from Istera on working with specialized software. We become better and we are improving. There is an interesting topic in your statements. You are in a partnership. It's not a new topic. According to the Western experience, many Western manufacturers of the software in the area of informational security, they use the same common platforms and specialized common platforms. Can we say that right now in the Russian market, we have conglomerates of joint development between manufacturers of the software and hardware means of protection so that you can roll out very effective solutions in the area of informational security? So some associations, groups. Konstantin? Of course, these associations do exist and they work for quite a while, and being more particular, our companies in the part of the NEVT consortium, computing, and all the manufacturers of the hardware platforms are part of this platform. Practically all biggest ones are the part of this platform. This is, well, we can call it differently. We can call it a conglomerate or collaboration, but generally speaking, this is a platform so that in some questions we can exchange the experience, which are not tackling the sensitive topics, but generally speaking, especially in the current international situation, these associations, they are useful to all the participants. It's hard to say that we are developing same products all together. Well, it's not like that. However, generally speaking, this exchange of the experience does exist. This platform does exist, and this is not just in the part of the calculating capacities, but it exists in different companies like telecom companies, in the software developing companies. They have association of software manufacturers. They do exist and they do work. Andrei, what about your experience of working in those conglomerates, consortiums? Well, from the point of view of the hardware platforms, more likely it is, well, we're trying to build close relations with manufacturers of our hardware platforms, because our solutions are being certified with the horizon of selling within next 5 years. So we only have to, for these hardware platforms which are being certified together with our products, they should continue exist in the market and they should be supported. From my point of view, we more participate in those consortium and collaborations related with standardization of cryptography, with standardization of protocols, including, well, in the part of the software, more likely. Well, I've heard an interesting topic that due to requirements and certification, you have to provide long-lasting product and you orient for long-lasting hardware platforms. Well, we've heard the 5 years. So this has brought me to another question. How do you see development of our hardware platforms in the course of these 5 years? If in 5 years from now we would meet each other, what would we speak about? Well, would we have everything, or maybe this would be something that we couldn't even think about? Let's try to dream a little bit, couple of seconds about it. Andrei, can you continue this topic? Well, this is very difficult to think about anything here. We did have and we do have plans on transition to domestic component base, to domestic CPUs. In the current situation, of course, it's much more complicated. Nevertheless, adoption of the software to work with domestic CPUs, we work in this area, we work in our company on this topic, and the work of our product on the architecture on Baikal and Elbrus CPUs at a given moment of time, We are approaching the final part of doing this. In our company, we as a manufacturer of the software, we are ready for this. Well, more questions are to the hardware manufacturers, how they will be able to build this process and how fast will they be able to complete this process. Well, Konstantin, can you give me the answer to this? Well, Andrei have already told you about our domestic processes. Elbrus and Baikal, our company, Aquarius, does have some developments of this equipment and these CPUs, and we're not limited by that right now. It is very popular to have RISC-V open architecture. Developments are done in this area. As for localization of components of electronic component base and transition to these solutions in the horizon of the next 5 years, I would like to believe that this will happen undoubtedly, because our company is not the developer and manufacturer of the CPUs by itself. That's why I like MCST and Baikal Electronics, I cannot speak for them because this is their plans and CPU production. They have their own roadmap. And from this point of view, we always are ready for cooperation. We always have certain ideas on how to move in this area. And these ideas, well, as long as these CPU ideas do exist, that's how long our developments do exist in this area. And some equipment has been certified with Elbrus CPUs 8 years ago. It was a long time ago. So yes, we are ready. We are ready for partnership and for throughput production with the software manufacturers and with the CPU developers. But all these plans have to come true. And we are hoping that in 5 years, we're going to speak only about that. And not only about our solutions, but domestic CPUs. Well, it sounds optimistically. And you know, I wanted to share some observation with you, because when I'm speaking with the client who actively shifts to Russian operating systems, I don't see any horror in the eyes. I think that people perceive it as a normal working process. And this is the question that I've been asking to you. When you communicate directly with the client, for them, is it a shock? Is it a normal working process? Or is it a planned operation for them for which you don't even have to concentrate? Well, it's a question to you, first of all. Well, we have different clients. Some clients say we have to fulfill specific functionality to fulfill certain functional requirements, and there are clients who don't really care what works inside of this hardware platform. They provide the requirements that this has to fulfill this and these functions. An objective of developers of the hardware and software hardware complexes, which include the software as well, that it has to work as the client wants. There are clients, and we can call them technological clients, technological partners, who provide specific requirements to how it's supposed to work, starting from the inbuilt software, BIOS, UEFI, and other ones. Well, for them, it is important to have like architecture of the CPUs, the command set, and etc., and things like that. So when we do work with technological partners, they don't have horror in their eyes. They understand everything. They dive into it and they do it. The clients who need to fulfill specific functionality execution, they don't understand why. In this box, everything worked perfectly, but in these ones, they need to go to certain stages. Well, right now, many companies do understand that. Well, in the beginning, people thought that, well, you pull out this, you stick in this, and nothing changes and everything is going to work as it was before. It's not like that, because in the infrastructure, everything works in the connection, everything works in interrelations, and there are no absolutely full mutual substitution. So there is no horror in their eyes, as I've said, but there is a big work, a lot of work. Clients understand more and more about the main idea of this, and I hope that together we will be able to convince the client that this is simple, but it's not coming together. Do you know, right now, colleagues, I need an advice from you. As we know, Positive Technologies company is one of the leading developers of this software and information security solutions. So right now, let's imagine we are communicating with our clients. What do you think for them? would it be optimal to install our solutions as the software packages, or for both of us, it would be optimal to offer completed software hardware complexes? Let's imagine that it's not me sitting here from Positive Technologies, but a client. What would you propose to me, software or a turnkey solution?
Андрей.
Andrei.
Тут, наверное, да, мне ближе этот вопрос, потому что
Well, this question is much closer to me because I constantly communicate with the clients. And of course, naturally speaking, you have to take into consideration requirements of the client in the part of functionality, performance, because if we are providing just a software solution, then we might have a question of compatibility with existing hardware resources they have. But if we provide the client with turnkey solution, hardware and software, they've tested it with us, we can provide the client with specific performance of this hardware software solution, how it can be exploited and used. Therefore, everything is depending on the tasks and objectives of the client, and in some cases, we can offer them some software solutions so that in his own infrastructure he could deploy it and wouldn't serve to additional platforms, or if the client wants to install it and forget about it, as it usually happens, then we can provide a turnkey solution, hardware and software, and then client receives guaranteed functionality, guaranteed performance, for which the manufacturer is responsible. So everything depends on the objectives given by the client. Okay, Andrei, I will talk about your words. You said that client wants to install and forget. So like we are saying that Russian hardware platforms are on the level that the client can install this hardware platform, this hardware software complex with your software, and can forget about it because this will work without any questions, right? Well, the specifics of the product are such. Usually, development of the VPN networks is more static. In cases when we speak about products of your company, like Positive Technologies, and it is necessary to have a group of experts which is going to look at the data which is provided by the system and operatively should react to these events. So from the point of view of VPN, the client wanted to install and solve this problem and come back to it after 3-5 years when you will need to update the version of the software. In the case with the usage of Positive products, well, you need a group of experts, you need some SOC, which is going to provide the client with updated data about threats, about incidents, and will offer some solutions for these questions. So I will come to the conclusion that informational security, even with good software and hardware platforms, you shouldn't forget about that. Okay, guys, we are reaching the end of our broadcast, but I started with a question. Do we see the light in the end of the tunnel, or do we see the train in the end of the tunnel, or maybe a brighter future? So according to my impression and according to the results of our discussion, we do see light. Maybe it's not really bright, but it's maybe a little bit fogged, but it's still light end of the tunnel. So what about your idea about this end of the tunnel? Well, I will agree with this statement, because if our work in development of this hardware platform, if this work wouldn't be started several years ago, if this work would be started in the end of the last year, then we wouldn't be able to approach to this time point of the year 23rd of November with some experience which already has been accumulated by us. So this is not the light in the end of the tunnel. If there was a tunnel, we're coming to an end of this tunnel, we see certain light. We still have a lot of work to do, and we shouldn't stop. We should run, we should cooperate, we should work, we should use all the channels of cooperation with each other, between the companies, in order to achieve best results, not only in the country, but in the world as well. Andrei, what would you say? Well, I would say that, speaking about Russian hardware platforms, we work with them quite a while. Well-known manufacturers, well-known platforms, there's a big experience of working with them, so it's not something new. We do have certain working moments that together with our partners we are solving, we are closing those problems, and right now we have a certain transition period. We are moving to a certain independence from the point of view of the hardware platforms and component base and CPUs, hoping that we will finish this path in the nearest future
Понятно.
and will become independent.
Ну, на этом, в общем, наверное, наша...
Okay, dear colleagues, this communication today comes to an end. Do you have any final words that you would like to say to people, or you have discussed all the main topics? Well, first of all, thanks for such a conversation, for disclosing this question, which worries many of us. And we are targeting to cooperate with everybody, including the Positive Technologies company. So if you will need us as experts in those questions, please call us. We're here. Yes, we will come to you with a great pleasure. Thank you very much. And I would like to say thanks for inviting me to this event. And I would like to say honestly that Russian solutions have reached a certain level of maturity. And combining our efforts as manufacturers of the hardware and hardware solutions, we will be able to provide our clients with solving their main problems in transition from Western manufacturers and providing security of their businesses. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. I'm in full solidarity with you. I think everything's going to work out. Thank you very much for coming here. And I would like to remind you, Andrei Robotinsky from Estera Company and Konstantin Dekadov from Aquarius Company. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.